wasn't gonna do this video yet, ladies and gentlemen, but after seeing some of the predictions that they have the Houston Texans going on for this schedule, I think is absolutely absurd. We're gonna discuss it next. Let's cue the intro.
The dream team, Hakeem, Turing, Beyonce, yeah, me. And I remember hot summer, hot winter. I couldn't fight, so the block made up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I'm your host, Ruben Calvillo. And guys, the media, the NFL, ESPN, whoever, has the Houston Texans as a horrible team. They have us going 4-12, 6-10, 13-3, and people are already dropping their season schedule predictions. And I'm just saying, you know what? Why not let me do mine and let me give you guys not an accurate one, but one that comes from a Houston Texans fan who watches this team 365 days a year, who listens about this team almost 365 days a year, and who's committed to this Houston Texans team. So honestly, guys, I have the Houston Texans going 11-5, and I'm gonna go down each week, because I think even and I had us going 11-5 even when Hopkins was still on the Houston Texans. Even when he was gone, I still said we're going 11-5 because I just think Deshaun Watson is going to go absolutely nuts. I think he's going to have a MVP type season. Like I said before, Deshaun Watson is about to enter the prime of his career. So who knows what type of player Deshaun Watson will be in his prime. We know how great of a player he was just coming out the league. And imagine him getting into form. Imagine him actually getting down, this offense, with these weapons, these new weapons, these speed demons that we have on this team. So that's why I really had the Houston Texans going 11-5. And it starts with week 1. We're going to be going to Kansas City Chiefs Thursday Night Football. That is an L for us. But I think it's a close L. I think it's a 38-35, 28-24 type game where the Houston Texans barely lose. And, we are going to see some of the growing pains there. We are going to see this offensive sputter, and also with the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to come off that Super Bowl hangover. They're going to look, they're going to look not out of sorts with, all this pandemic stuff going on. But I have it as a close game because, when the bright lights are on, Deshaun Watson becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the clutchest quarterbacks in the NFL. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs do take week 1 and the Houston Texans, start off on 1. We've been there before. We came back, and week 2 at home against the Ravens, I think that is another L. I think that, this defense will start off slow as well, and I think the offense will start off slow as well. I think Lamar Jackson will, he has receivers now. He has more running backs now. That defense for the Baltimore Ravens has just got more legit, adding Patrick Queen. And, it's going to be very hard for this, for this Houston Texans team to get going. And why I say 0-2, ladies and gentlemen, is because we've seen these Houston Texans have slow starts. We've seen them go 1-2. We've seen them go 0-3. We've seen them go 0-3 before. And the Houston Texans under BILLOBRIEN have really started off slow in the beginning of the season, but they seem to catch on, and that's where I'm keep on going with this video. But week 3, against the Steelers, I think that's a W. I think the Steelers are going to be a good team, but not a team to where the Houston Texans can really, not a team that they could beat the Houston Texans. I think that, we are starting to see this team come together. And, I really have the Houston Texans beating the Steelers. And I have them going on a little streak right here. I have them beating the Vikings, one, because I've never been, I like Kirk Cousins, but I don't believe in him. I know, and also you have to account that they did lose, Stephon Diggs, and now Adam Thielen will be going against number 1 corners. So who knows how that's going to work. And also Dalvin Cook is holding out. So who knows how, the Minnesota Vikings offense will look. But I have the Houston Texans 2-2 at the start, the first 4 games. Now, 2-2 is not bad because 4 of these teams, they have really 4 of them. But 3 of those teams last year were in the playoffs. And Big Ben, when he was healthy the year before that, threw for almost 38 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. So, those 4 games are going to be tough. And if you can manage to get 2-2, that's going to be absolutely perfect. Against the Jags, that's an absolute win. The Jacksonville Jaguars are absolutely horrible. I have no faith in the Jags whatsoever. And then moving on to the Titans at Tennessee, this might be a very close game but I have the Houston Texans winning. And here's why I say that. Last season when we went there, when they won, I think 4 or 5 straight, they were the hottest team in the NFL. Nobody expected the Houston Texans to go up there and win, and that's exactly what we did. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is as good as people say. You know, there's a lot of fans saying that they had the best quarterback, wide receiver, running back trio, but I just don't believe in Ryan Tannehill whatsoever. I think that he kind of caught people off guard. Started playing in the middle of the season, so we're gonna see Ryan Tannehill really get figured out. I'm not scared of Ryan Tannehill. King Henry, and we've always had a very good day against King Henry until week 16 last season. So I really have the Texans beating the Titans there. Now against the Packers, I have this as an L right before the bye. And here's why I say that Aaron Rodgers has something to prove this season. The Green Bay Packers drafted Jordan Love to be his backup. They drafted AJ Dillon. So I think that he's gonna go on an absolute tear. They made the NFC Championship last season with first-time head coach. And I think that they're going to be absolutely better. I think the offense will be better with AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. So I'm super excited to see what the Packers are doing. Fun fact: Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite quarterbacks. But I do have the Houston Texans taking an L there. And hey, the first 7 games, if you're 4-3, that is a win, because I think this is the hardest first 7 weeks we've ever had. I mean, look, the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. The Ravens, they have an MVP. The Steelers, Big Ben was hurt. Vikings have been in the NFC Championship the last 2 of the last 3 years. The Jags are trash. The Titans went to the AFC Championship. The Packers went to the NFC Championship. If you could squeak out of a 4-3 or even go 3-3, then that is an absolute win for the Houston Texans, given the fact that we're gonna have new offensive players, a new offensive coordinator. But then again, we're gonna have an elite Deshaun Watson, and that's what excites me. Now moving on after the bye, this is where I start to see the Houston Texans really going on a roll here. Against the Jags, that's a win. Against the Browns, I do not believe in Baker Mayfield whatsoever. When he was drafted, I called him trash. I'm actually blocked on Twitter by Baker Mayfield. I don't think the Browns are going to be any good whatsoever with all the drama that they've had. I do love Nick Chubb, though, one of the most underrated players in the NFL, probably because he doesn't really, talk that much, flash that much, but I really love Nick Chubb. Against the Pats. Now, against the Pats, this is a trap game, because we all expect the New England Patriots to be bad, right? And this is, a day before my birthday, November 21 or 23rd. I'm sorry, I got the date, messed up. But this game is a game that you could definitely see the Houston Texans lose, because the Houston Texans always have that one loss that make you scratch your head. I remember last season it was the Denver Broncos. When we had Brian Hoyer. It was, that horrible game against the Dolphins last season. The season before that, I think it was a game against the Eagles, where the Houston Texans always have that one loss where they should have won, but they just absolutely just blow it. That is a huge asterisk right there, that the Houston Texans could lose that game. Then moving on, against the Lions, not scared of the Lions whatsoever. Matt Patricia, I don't think he's a very good coach. And then, then going week 13 against the Colts, that could be an L for the Houston Texans, because we always split with the Colts no matter what. Last season they beat us at home and then we beat them at their place. I see the exact same thing. I think that they're going to beat us at our place and we're going to win at there. Phillip Rivers might be on a tear, or he might be absolutely garbage. You don't know, but the Texans always split with the Colts, no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, Andrew Luck, Matt Hasselbeck. We don't know what's going to happen when it's against the Colts. Now moving on to the Bears, I have that game as a loss as well. And here's why I say this. Shout out to Mr. James Sheridan, my teacher, who's a big Chicago Bears fan. Playing in December in Chicago is going to be absolutely horrible for the Houston Texans, given the fact that they're from here. It's hot. It's always hot. It's hot. It's hot. You walk outside, you're sweating. You wake up, you're sweating. You go to sleep, you're sweating. And then going to a freezing environment like Chicago, that's going to be a very tough game for the Houston Texans. I think last time we went up there, we won. It was a close game when Arian Foster had that touchdown. When they were we were 8-0 or 8-1, and they were 8-0. Very good game on Sunday Night Football. But I do have that as an L for the Houston Texans. Then to finish up the last 3 games, I have them going on a run, right? against the Colts. Like I said, I think that they're going to beat us at our house, and we're going to beat them at their house. And then, you know, that's going to be a very close game to watch, you know, for the probably for the AFC South. And then Joe Burrow, you know, week 16, you know, when teams are just starting to give up, I think that could be a good win for the Houston Texans. A good, easy win and tune up and to get into playoffs. Now, week 17 is where I have us resting our starters, and we're going against the Tennessee Titans. And I have them resting their starters as well. You know, that could be that could be a toss-up, but I'm going to just give it a win right there. So I really have the Houston Texans going 11-5, at the least 10-6, you know, 10-6 with that week 17 game, you know, whether the Titans win, because I have us resting. I do see us going 11-5 or 10-6. I do see us winning the division unless Phillip Rivers just goes on an absolute tear, because like I said, I do not believe in Ryan Tannehill. But let me know what you guys think about my predictions. Am I being too optimistic, or you know, or should I have this team lower than what they should be? You know, I've seen people say 9-7. You know, but you know, if you really think that the Houston Texans are gonna have a losing season, I don't know what to tell you. Deshaun Watson is not gonna let this team have a losing season. But let me know what you guys think, guys, about this you know, week 17 matchup, guys. Let me know what you think. As always, go Texans. You guys have a blessed day.